Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Hey everyone, you're listening to The Public Affair with me, Andrew G. I see someone different every episode, but do me a favor, keep it between us. Hey guys, it's me, Andrew G, and welcome to my 6th episode of The Public Affair. I just want to thank you guys again so much for your support and for listening and tuning in. One person that I have not given a shout out to, and I'm sure he's going to kick my ass for not doing it, is my boy, Mike Hamilton, our producer, with Rogue Media Network. He is the reason why this podcast is where it's at today. He does all the editing, all the video, every single thing. I'm just the talker. Mike, thank you so much for helping me make this project come true and making it like one of the best in everything that I've envisioned. You're the greatest. Before we get started too, I definitely want to let you guys know that this show is brought to you by a few of our sponsors. Francisco & Sons, my boy Israel Salazar, shout out to him. They're a local welding company that focuses on carports, metal buildings, fences, and more. So anything that you guys need, along those lines, make sure you guys hit them up and let them know that Andrew G with The Public Affairs sent you. I also want to give a big shout out to one of our new sponsors, and they're together, Fat Boy Micheladas en Botana and Serrano's Carnita. My boy Junior Banda and Miguel Serrano, they are the people behind that business. Junior invited me to his house last week. He gave me some of the best michelada, botana, and carne seca that I've ever had in my entire life. You guys have got to hit them up. Contact them on the number on the screen here. They're locally operated. You can call them for parties, things of that nature. And again, the best micheladas, botanas, and carne seca that you'll ever have. I love them so much. And shout out to you, Junior. Thank you so much for letting me try that. It was so delicious. And of course, I want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors, Cool Dreams Services. They're Cool Dreams Waco, locally here in Waco, Texas. Big shout out to Ashley and David Sanchez for hitting me out for that. They're a local heating and AC company, and it's hot as F out here. So if you need your AC fixed, definitely hit them up. They'll get with you. Very professional, high approval rating. Love them so much. Very professional. They also specialize in spray foam installation. So make sure you guys give them a call if you need your AC fixed or a heater when the time comes. They are Cool Dreams Waco on Facebook. So thank you guys so much for sponsoring the show. Now, without further ado, I want to introduce my next guest. I'm very excited to have this guy on. I think that this episode is going to take a different direction than what we're used to taking, but he said that all bets are on. Everything's on the table. There was nothing I can't talk about, and I said, good luck, darling. I want to give a big shout out to my boy, Adrian Fajardo. Thank you for coming on.
Man, thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Now, Adrian, you said I could talk about anything.
Yes.
Okay, don't be getting offended. Don't be reaching over the table trying to choke me, okay? So the story with Adrian, we were going to have his brother Angelo Fajardo on, and I guess we were just never able to meet a particular time and with everything going on and everything. And so in speaking to Adrian so much, I was like, hey, why don't you come on the show? It sounds like you have something that you could really talk about. I think that you have a story of inspiration that you guys can talk about. I think that a lot of people can benefit from listening to your story, and we'll get into all that in a minute, of course. And I think that we can share a lot with each other and, let people know that sometimes the grass isn't always as green in the beginning on the other side, and then it can be, depending on hard work. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so before we get into that, of course, I ask all my guests what amenity they'd like. When they come on the show, because I like to wine and dine my guests, right? And so Adrian said he wanted, okay, what is this called? A sweet berry tea.
Sweet berry green tea.
Excuse me, sweet berry green tea from HTO. Okay, shout out to HTO. And Adrian, I'm not going to lie, when you told me this is what you wanted, I almost slid in your DMs.
Yeah, oh man.
It was very free during no homework.
Oh man, oh dang, that's messed up.
I told you I was going to make a joke about that, right?
Yeah, you did.
I warned him. Okay, I did warn you. Okay, you said everything was on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely almost slid in his DMs because it's sweet berry green tea, Adrian. Okay, yeah, me too.
Yeah, right.
So why this, Adrian? Why did you want this as your amenity?
Man, it's hot outside, and it's just like it just looks super summery, and I was like, this is my go-to 100 degrees outside, I'm hitting HTO.
You're in. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I bought one for me too. So can we try it together real
Let's
quick?
do it.
And so, Adrian mentioned that we're not going to drink on the show. And I'm not going to tell Adrian whether or not I had 2 mimosas before the show.
Man.
But let's cheers to
go.
this. HTO. Thank you so much for the sweet berry green tea. Oh shit, that's good. Oh yeah, now I know why you like it. Jeez. Well, yeah, good choice, Adrian. I can't wait. It's perfect because it's hot outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Adrian, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are? Like, so who's Adrian Fajardo for everybody who doesn't know? Because we don't want to just name you as Angelo's brother.
Yeah.
I want to get to know who Adrian is. So let's talk about who you are.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that. I mean, that's really
It's like
cool.
a Destiny's Child situation. You don't want to just be Beyonce's sister.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because everybody knows my bro.
Yeah, of
my
course.
brother. But man, I'm Adrian Fajardo, and man, I'm into education, and I love education. And I love inspiring people at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I believe I have a story. I have a story to tell.
Right.
And people always come up to me and they ask me, Adrian, share your story. Right. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna share my story. You know what I mean? And so that's what I am. That's what I'm about. And I'm excited to be able to share my story with you today. So
sweet.
yeah.
Could we have picked a more appropriate drink to share your story with? Because we got some tea. Dog.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
And I
yeah.
said this wasn't going to be a gossip segment show, but I think that, again, we're going to get to know a lot about you. I think if I choose to disclose any information, a lot of the listeners will get to know a little bit about me as well. I think that we can relate to a lot of things that I'm going to ask you. Not a lot, maybe like 1 or 2 things. But I'm excited that you came on, and I'm excited for you to share your story. And is there a reason, like, so people tell you, like, share your story, is there a reason why you're not, or maybe are people not hearing you on social media like they did with the brother, or what's going on here?
Well, the thing is that, you know, my dad has a story, and he had, you know, he's one of the biggest dope dealers back in Waco.
Ooh.
And back in 06, 07, around there. And so then you got my brother who has this strong story.
Yeah.
So then it's Adrian to the side, and it's like,
Okay.
well,
So you're kind of being shadowed here.
there you go. And it's
and
like,
no shade to the brother.
Oh, no,
nobody.
not at all. Not at all.
But
Because
Adrian has a story too.
yeah,
darling.
yeah, they have some powerful testimonies, man,
Absolutely.
and I love them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So,
I definitely want to get into your dad's situation because, God, jail for 15 years?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
We're
15
going to talk
years.
about that.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Because I don't know. My brother, for anybody who doesn't know, is actually in jail for 20 years.
Wow.
I'd rather not say why on the show. I'll take it in person.
Yeah, okay.
Right now, I don't want to say it. It's
Yeah.
not, and, you know, it's definitely strained our relationship a lot. He's my twin brother.
Oh,
But yeah,
okay.
you know, I guess it's a situation where we all pick our journey.
Yeah.
And he chose that journey.
Yeah.
I chose this journey, darling.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean? So, you know, but we'll get into that in a minute. So why don't you talk to us about your life growing up, Adrian?
Yeah.
So you grew up here in Waco?
Yeah,
Okay, so
I did.
what was everything like in your household growing up?
Yeah, so we originally moved to Hewitt, Texas, back in 2001,
Shout out
around
Hewitt,
there.
because that's where I live.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard you. Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes.
went to Midway, and so man, we had this big, beautiful house. Man, it was in
Yeah.
the suburbs. It was beautiful. The neighborhood was great, and then man, I was in 5th grade, and it was a regular Tuesday morning.
Okay.
And man, it was just a normal Tuesday morning. Everybody woke up happy. My dad was in the kitchen. My mom was in the kitchen cooking some burritos, you know, egg and chorizo. Yeah. And so, man, it was a good morning, man. I remember that. And so, one morning we had a bunch of dudes in the front yard, and my mom had a screen door, and it was a screen door. The sun was shining in and everything.
Right.
And so I walked past that door, and I just seen a bunch of men in the front yard, and I was like, man, what's going on? And then all of a sudden I heard these dudes just bust in the door.
Wow.
And in Hewitt, Texas.
scary,
And so I was just looking around, and all I seen was these dudes take me and my brother outside, and as they were taking us outside, I remember seeing my mom and my dad handcuffed on the ground.
Wow.
And my mom was crying, and my dad was screaming, and it was a vivid scene. You know what I mean? For a kid.
How old were you at the time? You might have said.
I was 10 years old.
10 years old. Okay.
10 years old.
Wow.
And so from that point on, when I came home that evening, and my whole house was just torn apart, you know.
ransacked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so the cushions were taken out, and bed sheets everywhere and pictures on the ground. And so from that point on, my life completely changed.
Yeah.
And so
you weren't gonna make my bed. I had to make my bed this morning. I had to make my bed. I had to do some humor in there.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's crazy. As a 10-year-old, so you're just going to school like normal day. And you're like, oh shit! Like before I came here, I think my dad got arrested. And then, you know what I mean? And then you come home and your house is ran. Were any of your parents home at the time? Did your mom make it out or?
Yeah, my mom was home that evening, but my dad didn't come home that evening. And so we knew that things were going to change after that.
As a 10-year-old, did you know that your dad was into all that?
Oh, no.
So you guys were kept naive to that?
No, yeah, my dad, well, when my dad left, my brother always said, hey, dad went to college. And I was like, okay, I stuck with that. I'm like, okay, dad's in college, I guess. Yeah, cop's stuck in the college. Yeah,
we're telling my niece and nephew right now that their dad's on vacation.
Oh,
like,
it's always those stories.
He can never afford a vacation on his own, but he's on vacation, right?
Yeah,
so, and they're younger too. They're 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So so I guess how old were you when you finally realized, okay, dad's not at college?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I was probably about 13.
Okay, so it took you 3 years. What's the age difference between you and your brother?
My brother is
that he knew that and you didn't.
Man, he said he's been knowing my dad was doing his stuff when he was like 9 or 8.
Oh, really?
So he was already into what my dad was doing.
Okay, that makes sense.
And so I mean, he looked up to my dad a lot,
right?
And so he followed my dad's footsteps,
right,
from a very young age.
Okay.
You know? So me and him are completely different people,
right?
Completely different people.
Yeah,
yeah.
So when you say you're completely different people, I mean, I guess. Did he, because you said that he idolized your dad to a sense, and you said he wanted to follow in his footsteps, that he wanted to be the next kingpin, I guess, and then you were just like, I'm not trying to focus on all that shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I mean, there's been plenty of times where he would just come in and say, Adrian, look how much I can make off this. And it'll be just 2 jars of just, some dro. Yeah. And I'll be like, bro, why you even bringing that to me, bro? Like, look where dad's at. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we're just 2 different people when we're growing up.
Right. But was there ever a time, I guess, like, so your dad's in jail and then you're just like, yeah, fuck this, I'm out of the world. And so did you like turn to drug and alcohol use as hard as him? Or like, what was your journey with that like?
Well, actually, man, I didn't turn to those things until I was in college.
Really?
And I was really grasped the fact that, man, my dad's not here.
Okay.
And so I really started to think, when they say you go to college and during those college years, you tend to find yourself. Oh, yeah. That's what they say. And so I just really started to really think during those years. And I'm like, man, this is really hard. You know what I mean? And so, yeah.
And so maybe this is an easy way. Like, were you selling drugs? Do you want to disclose that? Or?
No, I mean, the temptation was there though.
Right.
It just makes sense.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you want to know what, as far as the selling drugs things go, a person that I was really good friends with for a long time, and we ended our friendship this year actually, would buy cocaine. And I would ask him, like, how much do you spend on that? And I think he was along the lines of $125 a week, week. And I'm like, that's not even my fucking bills. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So it's just like drugs like that can just be so expensive. And I have personally never experienced or, experimented with drugs. I experimented with other things.
Yeah.
But it's just not drugs. Yeah. And so I never understood, I guess, the addiction behind it. Like that in your mind tells you it's okay to spend $125 on something that could potentially kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it really turns into somebody's peace.
Okay.
At the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's somebody's peace. They want to run to that to comfort them whenever they're going through something.
Right.
And so I was beginning to do the same thing. I wanted to run to those things because I seen the trouble that my mom and my sister or my brother was going through. I was like, man, I got to go do these things. You know what I mean? And so
this is going to take me away. So that was your mindset.
And I seen my family do it too. And it was like, this makes sense. Let me just do it.
What about PlayStation?
Yeah,
when
right.
I get depressed, I play my PlayStation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I sit in my room and play Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Honestly, man.
Again, everybody's different. Yeah.
I don't really play games, honestly.
Okay.
I've never played games. I've always an outside dude,
Well, that's good too. Then you're not pudgy like me.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand. I'm a good 150, so everybody can shut up. Anyway, okay, no. So so then your dad's in jail for 15 years, and then he gets out.
Yeah.
And I know that. Excuse me, backtrack a little bit. I know you said, we talked on the phone the other day, and you said that the relationship with your brother was strained for a little bit. That maybe you kind of resented him or hated him, for lack of a better term. What was the reason? Was it because of that, or?
Well, the thing is that, man, I got it's a story, man.
We got all day. Let's go. Hey, Adrian, so before you get into that, I want to go ahead and give another shout out to a few of our sponsors. I want to give a shout out to Little Angels Waco. Thank you to Jose and Rochelle Villa for reaching out and wanting to sponsor the public affair. You guys can hit them up for all your bounce houses and water slides for you need for parties, for anything. They're super great people, and those bounce houses are so much fun. I love them so much. Another big shout out to one of our new sponsors, S&I Landscaping. Luis Valenzuela hit me up and wanted to sponsor the show, so thank you so much, Luis. You guys can hit them up for all your landscaping needs, lawn care. They have tree trimming, tree removal, concrete work, and so much more. So make sure you guys hit them up. They also sell trees and flowers. So thank you again to S&I Landscaping for reaching out and wanting to sponsor the public affair. And also to the law office of Seimer and Tetons. Thank you so much for reaching out to sponsor the public affair. Thank you to Diego Hernandez for reaching out. They're out of Belmead. You can contact them for all your legal help. They specialize in criminal cases, family cases, immigration cases, and so much more. So make sure you guys hit them up to solve all your legal troubles. And thank you guys again for sponsoring the public affair. Now, Adrian, I want to get into the story about why you and your brother's relationship was a little strained.
Yeah.
So why don't you kind of start from the beginning?
Yeah, so, I mean, when my dad went to prison, man, he was just always just wanting to bully me for some reason. And he'll tell you all the stories about it. And so there was this one time where I just got fed up with it. I was like, I was probably like in 7th grade. Yeah. And I was like, I got a knife and I was like chasing him around the house and my family was trying to stop me. Yeah. But it just showed how much bitterness I had towards my brother. Okay. And we couldn't live together because we would always try to fight each other. Right. And so it was just because he was always he was always making my mom cry. Okay. You know what I mean? Like because getting in trouble. You know what I mean? And so it was like I was tired of seeing him do those kind of things to my mom. Right. And so I just resented him. I was like, I just don't want nothing to do with you, bro. And we just had nothing in common too. Right. Yeah. And plus he would always steal my shoes. And then there's another story. He stole my shoes. Yeah. I'm looking for these shoes. I come home and the cops got him handcuffed on the side of my curb. And I'm like, I'm not worried about him getting locked up. I already seen him so many times. Right. But I look down, he got my shoes on, the one that he stole.
Wait, let me get them shoes real quick.
Yeah, before you go to get locked up, let me get them shoes.
Somebody else gets them.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Again, with my brother going to jail, definitely, I don't want to say that was the reason why it strained our relationship. I just think that, we all kind of make our bed and lay in it. I think that as we get to a certain age, we all choose our own journeys in life, like we discussed earlier. And again, my journey didn't include taking care of him. Yeah. Like we're going to be 30 years old next year. And so my journey didn't include making sure that you were good 24/7. I wanted to do things like be on the radio, be on the podcast, do this and that. And so for right now, I haven't talked to my brother in 5 years. He's been incarcerated for 5 years. And I have like no intentions of reaching out. And I think that when that time comes, I'll do so. And, I think for right now, though, I'm busy. I'm booked and busy. And the reason why he went to jail is like how you said that Angela was making your mom cry. He's making my mom depressed, like while he's in jail. And it's like, hello, you know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons why I just like can't stand with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Family or not. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck would I want to condone anything that you did to put yourself in that situation? And now I have to be like looked at to try and get you out? Absolutely not. Yeah. So I mean, I'm sorry that that strained your relationship with him, but I guess you guys are good now. I mean, you're older.
Yeah.
He seems to be out of trouble.
Yeah. Well, I can't sit there and say it's because of me and on my own power. I mean, it was definitely I got to give my credit to God because God intervened in our life. And when my brother said he was gonna change, I was like, oh, whatever. He's not gonna change. He's already talked like this before. Yeah. But he said, hey, I'm going to church now. And 3 months later, he's like, I'm sober now. And 4 months later, he's like, I'm becoming a youth minister and all these different kind of things. And so, but from there on, man, our relationship has been like really great. Really great. And that's like really one of my best friends.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
really
good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, did you? I guess you said that when you were in college, you went through an experimental phase, I guess, with drugs and alcohol. Do you want to talk about what kind of drugs that you used? Or
yeah, most definitely. Like, I mean, it was really just being with all my homeboys and smoking weed.
Just smoking weed,
and then really just drinking on the weekends, partying. You know what I mean? And so, like I said, it just felt like I was going through so much depression, and it was like that was the only go-to. On the weekends, you know what I mean? It was like, I'm gonna go just try this with my friends. This feels like this is the only hope that I have. Right. You know what I mean? And so that was that.
So when you decided that you wanted to change your life around and say, okay, I'm not gonna smoke weed and bullshit and drink on the weekends, and you decided, okay, this is not what I'm doing. Do you think that a lot of your old friends kind of like your circle changed after that, so to speak?
Most definitely. You stop getting text messages on the weekend.
Okay.
Like, what you up to, bro?
Yeah.
You don't get that no more.
How about those 3 a.m. phone calls? Come pick me up. You ever get those?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I don't miss those days.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
I mean, people stop messing with you when you want to change your life. When you want to, and when you want to make a big impact, people are gonna stop coming around. And so, that's what happened with a lot of my friends, a lot of my circle.
Yeah.
And so they seen that I was changing, but I realized that they were influencing my life a lot. You know what I mean? But now I get to go back to my friends and influence them. And a lot of them still hit me up. They have a lot of respect for me. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You know, you made a good point, and I'm gonna go ahead and share. And this will be a little controversial, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So you made a good point about, they stopped hitting you up, whatever the case was. And before I get into it, would you be fair to say that there are people who, when you're winning or decide to win and they're not, they want to try and drag you down?
In a lot of cases, yeah, that's true.
Okay.
That's true.
I was in a situation last year I'm going to share. And a very good friend of mine was an alcoholic, or whether or not he is to this day, I don't know, because we don't speak anymore.
Okay.
And turned to drugs for a lot of things as well.
Yeah.
I moved in with him, and to try and help him out, and things kind of took a left turn. I stopped drinking for the duration of my stay there. I drank in the beginning because it was like Lent, so he wasn't drinking. So I didn't drink at the house, but I would go out and I wouldn't come home just completely plastered. But I would I had a good time, go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometime during the duration of the stay, I would say just a few weeks later, went right back to binge drinking. And again, the details of the stories or whatever can be differentiated by a lot of different people, but I lived it, so who cares?
Yeah.
Alleged.
Yeah.
He would drink a lot, and he was the type. I think there's people that drink. Like, okay, so I drink, and I like to have drinks. Not every weekend. I can't do that shit in the morning. 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. No. Yeah. 11 o'clock, I'm home, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a fun drunk, I think. I like to just, I'm a little overly sexual, whatever. But, and then I, tell jokes. I make friends with everybody, move on, right?
Yeah.
And then there's people who are angry. And in this situation, and I'm not going to name the person's name because it's not worth mentioning. Yeah. But he was the type of alcoholic that would get into like a blind rage. Yeah. Would be mad about things that happened years ago. Yeah. And internalize that it was happening now. Yeah. And part of the things that I would tell him was, I think, and I'm not an expert on alcoholism or anything, but I said, I think part of the reason why you're doing this is because you're hanging out with a bunch of, excuse my French, fucking losers that want to do nothing but that as well. Yeah. And you want to excel in life and you want to proceed and be successful. You're not going to do that hanging out with these people. And to be honest, a lot of it was like some of our friends, you know what I mean? Just to be quite honest. And, it's like, we're growing up now, we're taking directions in life. You're about to graduate college. You can't be hanging out with a bunch of these people that don't want to see you succeed. Yeah. Would you say that that's a fair statement?
I mean, it's true. Like, they say the 5 people that you hang around with, that's who you're going to be in the future. Okay. And so your 5 closest friends, you got to really sit there and evaluate who's feeding into my life. Those are the 5 people that are going to influence you the most.
Definitely.
And so I got to be sure, and you got to be sure to be able to surround ourselves with people who are going to bring us forward, push us forward, and not move backwards.
Not move backwards. And that's what I would tell him. And, I guess, again, it was a 5-month ordeal. It felt like 5 fucking years.
Yeah.
One ear, not the other. One ear, not the other. And again, from what I experienced, the drinking took place several times a week. Yeah. Tuesday night, coming home at 3 a.m, drunk. You know what I mean? Like, this, bro, you got to stop. Yeah. You've got to stop. I will share further. And again, I say this for awareness. Yeah. Because you've went through it. I've been through it. That this disease, is it fair to say alcoholism is a disease?
Yeah, most definitely.
Definitely constrain the relationships of those around you.
Most definitely.
He beat me up. Really, really bad. And it was embarrassing. So he beat me up. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, I just let it out.
Again, this is all for awareness. Like, people really don't understand like the effects that this shit can really have. Between a really good friend. I'm not looking at that fucking camera right now. Yeah. That can really like affect you. And he beat me up really, really bad one night. I mean, I was bruised. Like, it was ridiculous. I had to call into work for like the whole weekend. It was crazy. Yeah. And it was embarrassing because it was somebody that I called my best friend. Like, you can't tell me shit. You know what I mean? And like, this does no wrong. That's my best friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he beat me up pretty bad. And that wasn't it though. That told me, okay, stop hanging out with him. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was after the fact when, I think forgiveness is a big part of anything. I think that in order to move on, you have to forgive people.
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
And, you can't just be living with venom in your hate. Shakira has a song called No, right? I'm just going to digress because I need some humor.
Yeah.
She has a song called No, and the lyrics of the song go, No se puede vivir con tanto veneno. You speak Spanish?
A little bit.
Okay.
Translate a little.
Okay,
translate a little.
She has the lyrics of the song are No se puede vivir con tanto veneno. And it's like you can't, something along the lines of you can't live with so much venom.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why forgiveness is such an important part of moving on and whatever, with building a friendship, relationship, anything. And I forgave him. And then just months later, like on Thanksgiving night, I'll never forget, he said he would do it again. And because he was drunk. And
he will beat you up again.
He said he would beat me up again. And that was it for me. That was like the final straw for me. And I was like, you're gonna need a lot of help. You need a lot of help, and the help is beyond anything our friendship can do for you.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I was a good friend. I was the positive light, and you wanted to hang out with a bunch of bum-ass losers who didn't want to see you succeed, who didn't want to see you win, and convinced you that you didn't have a problem.
Yeah.
But when you're drinking day in, day out, and then trying to, anyway.
Yeah.
I think that it was that, because you can't put yourself in a situation like that again.
Yeah.
And I am not a fighter. I tell that to everybody. I can't be getting my ass whooped up and down twice. Needless to say, I did move out of that house.
Yeah.
And I was, again, it really put me in a really bad situation where I was like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want, to tell anybody. I didn't put it on Facebook. I just acted like nothing was fucking wrong. But I had, a black eye, bloodied lip, bruises on my head, like crazy. And, that was what made me end the friendship was, okay, he's gonna do it again. And then we spoke a few months after that, and it was just the same shallow apology, like, oh my bad, blah blah blah. And then I said, that's it, I'm over it. Like, I can't do this shit no more, bro. Like, you need help. The help that you need goes beyond this. And it's like you said before, Adrian, I didn't mean to just make that whole thing about me, and that's an exclusive because I've only talked about that to really close people.
That's deep. That's deep.
Very deep. I didn't tell a lot of people about that situation, but I think it's important. The reason why I share that story, and the reason why I wanted you on here and it inspired me to share that story, is because you went through it. Yeah. There's people that you hang out with, like you actually went through, like you went through using drugs and drinking excessively, and he did too. Yeah. And if he listens to this podcast, this is not to bash you, but this is just for awareness that the effects of this shit can really, like, just deteriorate all the people that are around you, like your relationships and stuff. And it's not
a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect. It,
yeah. Now you get to hang out with a bunch of fucking people that don't want to see you win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, could you relate to anything of some of this?
No,
I didn't want to make this all about me.
No.
Adrian Fajardo.
No, honestly, man, I got to bring up the story with my mom. My mom was one of a big alcoholic, and she, man, it was like she was my hero.
Yeah.
And seeing her on ground zero with alcohol, man, it broke me.
Yeah.
It broke me to the core. Yeah. And my sister back there could tell you, we went through it with my mom.
Right.
Thankfully, now my mom is sober. She's been sober. She's in the church and things like that, man. It's a beautiful thing. But, man, it would really bring us down as a family. It brought us all down. And like what your friend had brought you down, thankfully you cut them off for the better. Yeah. You know what I mean? For the better. For the best, yeah, man. But the thing is that one thing you said was forgiveness. Yeah. And forgiveness, man, it's not for that other person a lot of time. It's for you. So that you can move forward. Yeah. And so I did the same thing with my mom. I had to forgive her on a lot of things, and we're able to move forward, man. I'm able to build with her, and I'm able to be a son to her, and it's a lot of great things. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I did struggle with that a lot with alcoholism, and that's a big reason why me personally I don't drink. Okay. Because I seen it, what it does to people, what it does to a lot of my family. You know what I mean? And
that's that just goes to saying a lot of people should just not fucking drink. Like they shouldn't be allowed to drink. Yeah. Like again, like I honestly, Adrian, I feel like I can drink. A lot of people might be like, oh, you're just a little excessive. Like you're a little bit. You know what? But I never try and punch you in your face. I never try to kick your ass. You know, I'm very loud. I'm very obnoxious. Whatever. That's just Andrew G all day. I'm even loud on this show at the public fair. So, but there's just people like I get with that particular person. You just shouldn't have been allowed to drink. That was the thing.
Yeah.
And then you hang out with these people that tell you, no, you don't have a fucking problem. No, you don't. Andrew's crazy. No, the fuck I'm not. Y'all aren't living that. Yeah. And then, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's sad to see. And, you know, people joke about, I don't joke about alcoholism. Yeah. Only because I went through that situation. Like, I see people joke like, oh, I'm an alcoholic because I drink every weekend. Yeah. No, this person literally drank every day, day in and day out. Yeah. And a lot of people would think that I'm exaggerating, but no, the fuck I'm not. Yeah. And, you know, it was a hard thing to go through. And I remember telling my cousin when I was going to move in with him, she's like, you're walking into a minefield. Like, you don't understand what you're getting yourself into. That was a fucking war zone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. That was a fucking war zone. Like, I never knew what I was walking into. And it broke me. It really fucking broke me. And I shared a little bit on Facebook the other day. Yeah. That situation broke me. It came up to a year just the other day that shit happened. Wow. 1 fucking year. Wow. And I look at where I was and where I am now. And that's what people need to understand. You cannot let these other people, because of their situations, dictate what you go through in your life. Yeah. Like I started a fucking podcast and have 10 plus sponsors. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'm on the radio and I'm this and that.
And now you're talking about awareness over alcohol.
And now we have to talk about, and don't get me wrong, like I'm trying to have some mimosas next week when I go to my little, you know, Airbnb with my homeboys. Yeah. But you know, I just think that when there's just certain people that cannot do it. Yeah. And then with his drinking, it led to the harder drugs like cocaine and stuff like that. And you know, would lie about being sober. Yeah. Like would lie about having a drink. And you know, I'm sure to watch your mom go through that as well. Like, I mean, that's, you and I both know then that's not a pleasant sight to see. That's something that I really wanted to share on this podcast. I'm sure a lot of people will you know, resent me for, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, and I wish, at the end of the day, I just want to say that I wish everybody well. Yeah. I don't wish me and that person are not friends. I do not consider him a friend anymore. It's sad. Yeah. You know, I'm glad that you were able to forget. I mean, that's your mom. You can't just say it's not my mom anymore.
Well, the thing is that it's like, it's really an intoxicating environment that you were in. Yeah. And so there's a lot of people who are still holding on to those relationships that are it's really toxic. Yeah. And so it's like, in some cases, you have to cut these people off so that you can move forward.
I could I remember that night so vividly and remember seeing the expression on his face. I didn't really try to fight back. Because I'm not a fighter, because I don't know how to fucking fight. I did punch him one time in his face, but it's like, I joke about it now. At the time, it was not anything worth joking about, but I said, that was no different than a bag of cotton balls flying at your fucking face. And, you know what I mean?
That's how soft it was.
Yeah, it was soft as fuck. You know what I mean? So, but I will never, Adrian, I will never forget the fucking expression on his face was blank. Like, just blacked out. There was no remorse. There was no, you weren't smiling because you kicked somebody's ass who's taller than you. You weren't like mad. It was just blank. Yeah. It was scary. It was like looking at a fucking monster in a dream. Yeah. I'll never forget that shit. I'll never forget just everything. That whole night, I'll never forget it. And again, I wish that person well. We're not on speaking terms at the moment, but do your thing. I hope that one day you'll wake up and, you know, again, if you're going through that issue, if not, it really doesn't matter to me anymore. Like, that's just the way it is. Yeah. So anyway, let's move on. Thank you for sharing that experience with me as well about your mother. And you know, is there anything else that you want to elaborate on that part, or?
No, not really. Really, man, it's just, it's really important that we're even bringing this up, though, man. I think it's very important.
And let's just make sure. I don't see anything wrong, and I don't smoke. Like anything, but I don't see anything wrong with like recreational weed smoking. Like, you know, like you're just like, you know, you're at your parent, like not your parents, like your friend's house. And it's like, oh, let's just like, it's a party, whatever. But like to sit there and be blazed all day. No, I don't condone that. Same thing with alcohol. Again, I like to have me a little drinky. You know what I mean? I'm not drinking every day. I'm not saying that there's like, you know, I'm not trying to bash any of that. I'm just saying that there really is a difference in people that are alcoholics and then people who just kind of do it recreationally. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people might beg to differ. But do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And for me, I really beg to differ. Okay. But just because of what I've seen, though. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because for me, it's like a lot of people say, man, I'm gonna just smoke this and this and this, and then it leads to some other drug. A lot of times I've seen that, and so it's like
that's when the problem kicks in. Yeah. That's when you have a problem, because if there's one thing, if you say, okay, I'm gonna have like 2 hits of weed and be high in my house and sit there on my couch because it's my house and I worked all day. I feel like that's different. But when it leads to, okay, now I'm going to do cocaine. Like with this particular person, his vice was drinking and the drinking triggered cocaine. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's when you have the issue. That's how I feel. But, you know, it's great to agree to disagree. I don't like to consider myself an alcoholic because I think I'm the farthest thing from it. You know, again, I mean, if you invite me to your party, it's going to be crunk.
You're drinking mimosas.
Yeah, mimosas, those are the bitch drinks anyways. Okay, you shut up. Okay, so now you have to, now I feel like you guys are in the image. I have a funny story to tell too. Okay. You guys are, and this is going to relate to you, okay? You guys are, I feel like your family, so to speak, are and like have this image to maintain in the community.
Yeah.
Like you guys can't fuck up now because everybody will hold that shit against your head.
Yeah.
And I met somebody that I worked with once, and I'm not going to name his name because he begged me not to. This was a couple years. And I love him. Okay, but anyway, he was like that. We met him, and he was like, yeah, I changed my whole life around, and I used to. No, wait, let's just hear me out. And I love him. Okay, and this is why I could be evil as fuck, right? And so, and I'm not. Anyway, he was like, I changed my whole life around, man, and I used to do drugs hardcore, and I used to drink, and I just don't do it anymore. I'm into God now, and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Because there's those people, right? There's those people, and it's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Yo, I went to Junction 84, and I used to dance on the dance floor by myself. I don't care. The reggaeton, all that. And who was there? That person. Yeah. And we hung out that night. Yeah. Like, he was cool. Like, we were drinking. Yeah. As far as anything else he did, I'm not going to, I don't know. Yeah. But he was fun to hang out with. And I'm like, and he begged me, please don't post. Like, I took, pictures, and he was like, just don't post any, like, I can't have anybody knowing that this is what I do. Like, this is like my thing. Yeah. And I'm like, but like, why do you feel like we all are not perfect? We all have imperfections. So where you went wrong was trying to convince us that you don't do any of that, not knowing that you were talking to Andrew motherfucking G, who used to stay at Junction 84 and dance the night away. And then I hung out with you. Like, like, I wish that you could live your truth more and say, yeah, like, I do this sometimes. Yeah, I praise God. Like, I think God's cool too. Me and God are tight. But I also, do things that are probably unspoken of in the Bible, which is whatever. So what is your take on maintaining a positive lifestyle?
Well, see, people ask me this all the time, and they say, Adrian, you don't drink or you don't smoke, you don't do it. Like, you live a boring life. You know what I mean? They do these things, man. But I've seen a lot of that situation too, and I've seen where just people just. I don't know what that dude was going through at that night. Okay. Maybe he was going through some stuff and like, man, you know what? I'm gonna just go out, just get.
He was going through some stuff, all right.
Man.
Just kidding.
You're a trip, man. You're a trip. But man,
not me. Yeah. Let me just verify. Okay, not me. Okay.
And honestly, man, there are some times where I would do the same thing, where I would try to maintain this picture, right? And I would just try to maintain being a Christian, like, man, but I couldn't attempt it. It was like I couldn't attempt that picture. And it was basically like a lot of rules. Right. A lot of rules. I can't drink, I can't smoke, and I can't do all this stuff. Right. But then I started learning about a relationship.
You can't have monogamous sex. Like,
yeah.
Like, I'm out. Yeah. Oh, you're married, by the way, right?
Yeah, I am married. Okay. 8 months.
Adrian's married.
8 months.
I don't want her kicking my ass. What's her name?
Cecilia.
Cecilia, I don't need problems. Okay, we were just joking. Okay.
8 months married. Okay. 8 months married.
Shout out to Cecilia.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, it was just a lot of rules that I was living. I couldn't live by it. And so when I found a relationship with Christ, when I found a relationship with Jesus, it's like I love Christ so much and I love my relationship so much that I don't want to do those things no more because I feel like I got something better. Right. I have something way better, and it's like I don't want to go out and I don't want to do those things. I want to be with all these people, and I want to have my relationship, and I just want to honor God. You know what I mean? Is that making sense?
No, I got you.
Yeah.
And I think that as far as the honoring God, quote unquote, I think that we all take that approach differently. Like I pray. People don't know I pray every night before I go to bed. Yeah. And I thank God for my life blessings, for friends, all that, everything. But I live a very sinful life. Like I probably do things that maybe you who practices the Bible or goes to church every Sunday would disagree with, and which is fine, by the way. I don't care.
Yeah. But you said that you were a fallen Catholic. Can you tell me what that meant?
You be watching the podcast, don't you? Okay. Yeah. Fallen Catholic. Okay, so one of my favorite comedians is actually Kathy Griffin, and a lot of people hate me for that because of what she did with the head and everything. But I always thought she was funny. Like she was the epiphany of like comedy for me back in the day. And one of her routines, her family was, Catholic, very church orientated. She's a foul-mouthed comedian. And she said in one of her stand-up shows, I'm like to consider myself a fallen Catholic. Whereas like she is Catholic but doesn't go to church and makes fun of Jesus and stuff like that. I don't necessarily go as far as making fun of Jesus. I say it was a joke, number one. And number two, I believe in God. I go to church. I don't go to church often, but before I travel, I go to church. And when I say fallen Catholic, I kind of bit that off of her. And I live like a life that Catholics would probably resent me for. You know what I mean? Like I'm gay. Like, I have sex with dudes. You know what I mean? And they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" You know what I mean? You have sex with children. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So and like my mouth is foul. So it was a joke that I got from her. I can't sit here and say I am a Catholic. I feel like if I tell like your sister out there, I'm only using her as an example. Oh, I'm a Catholic. automatically people think, oh yeah, he must follow the faith.
Exactly.
He goes to church. He does this. He does that. Which kind of not really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
but I do believe in God.
Yeah.
I believe that there is a higher power. I believe that God, because of God, put me through this journey for a reason, all that. But I just don't follow the faith probably like I should. So that's how I perceive fallen Catholic. I got that joke from Kathy Griffin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What
It
was
makes
your
sense to me.
interpretation of it? Can I ask?
No, I don't know what that really meant. Well, because I mean, my wife was a devoted Catholic, and she talks about the story of like where she was 7, 8 years old, and she just like, man, I can't live up to these roles that a lot of people have on me. And like at 6 years old, she was like, I'm gonna go into hell because I don't add up. I don't add up to these roles. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that's the way she felt.
That's how she felt. Okay.
You know what I mean?
I personally don't feel like I'm going to hell. I just feel like God's gonna have a talk with me when I get to heaven, because I've done some shit.
Yeah.
That you'd probably be like, oh, Andrew.
Yeah.
You gotta say like 50 Hail Marys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is that she was living up to some rules that she wasn't able to attain. And so she had that rule book in her mind to the point where she just wasn't good enough. Right. You know what I mean? And so she had to overcome that. Wow. Now I had to overcome that and say, man, you know what? It's about the relationship rather than the rules are there, but it's really about the relationship.
So you're saying for her, it was like people say, you have to do this, you have to do this. And for her, it was like, this is just too much.
Yeah, it's like too much. You know, just too much. And so it's like now she's like, man, I want to have a relationship with God, and therefore I want to change.
And I love God too. I
just
love God differently.
Yeah.
So I totally respect you guys for that. I think it's great. So, you know, and so I guess maintaining a positive life, that's just you being authentic. Like you're just, you're not trying to convince everybody and then I'm going to see you at the club later on. You're getting drunk and making out with 5 girls, right? No. Like, those are my favorite ones. You know what I mean? Because then I know I can turn them. But anyway.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Okay. Man. Skipping. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, we're going to wrap up here soon, but I do want to talk about a little bit of your work at Waco ISD, correct? Would you like to elaborate? Or did this conversation get too much and you're just like, no?
No, I love, man. I want to talk about my school. I work at South Waco Elementary.
Okay. What do you do?
I'm a coach assistant under Coach Mason, the best coach, PE coach, elementary coach. If you're looking at this, Coach Mason, that's like my big sister, and she's taught me so much, and she's mentored. Yeah, and so I love my school. I love my kids. I love the staff there, and man, I'm glad to be there. And so I've been there for it's my 3rd year.
Okay, so what's next for you there? I mean, so you're a coach assistant. So do you teach as well, or?
Yeah, I do teach. So it's a program called South Waco Awesome Guys, and so what that does is that I gather a whole bunch of community leaders, and they're able to mentor guys, and they're able to show them how to do a tie, and just basically build them up as far as their character. And so there's a girls code as well.
Yeah,
they do it with 5th grade girls. I do 5th grade guys, and so we have a team to do it. Shout out to my team, a great team.
So it's just to teach them how to be gentlemen at a young age.
Teach them how to be gentlemen.
Do you think that's an appropriate? Like, would you consider that kind of inner city youth where you teach, or?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's inner city.
I'm not from here, so
so it's inner city, and so it's in South Waco, and it's behind LaSalle Avenue. Do you know where LaSalle Avenue? Do you know where South Waco Elementary is at?
I don't know where I know where LaSalle is because they have really good tacos.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know where South Waco Elementary
Okay, yeah.
is.
So it's in the back roads of LaSalle.
Okay,
and so it's right there, and man, I love it, man. It's tough. It's a tough school, and a lot of people. It's South Waco is one of those schools where it's just like, I don't want to go over there. It's South Waco Elementary kids. Right. But man, I pour into those kids, and the staff pour into the kids, and man, it's a challenging job, honestly. But I love pouring into them, and I love encouraging. I mentor a lot of kids there, man.
That's good.
And so, man, it's great. You know, a lot of people call them the hood kids.
Okay.
But man, I have so much. I have high expectations of these hood kids.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because they could do as much as any kid around the world in the suburbs or whatever. They had the potential.
To be a product of your environment.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't have to control your destiny. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that's why I pour into them, and I love it.
I feel the same way. I'm from a town called Central Islip in New York, and back in the day, it was like, now it looks really nice and everything. I don't know what they did. But back in the day, at least, we grew up. Like a lot of troubled kids, you know what I mean? And I see a lot of people chose to be a product of their environment. Like a lot of people got into drugs, gangs, whatever. I chose not to do that. You know, so I think you and I can both be inspired. I mean, I don't focus being on inspiration to kids. That's why I invited you on the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I focus on being funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't have to be a product of your environment. That's never an excuse. We all make our own decisions in life. We all make our own bed. You have to kind of push through. Yeah. And, you know, part of the reason why I also wanted to invite you on the show is because I knew you had a story to tell. I think that hopefully I wouldn't show this episode to any children.
Yeah.
Just yet. Okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, I have a friend who knows of you as an educator because he's an aspiring educator as well. And he's like, you got to get Adrian. And I was like, okay. And then when I talked to you and just saw you on Facebook, I was like, Adrian, why didn't you come on the show?
Yeah.
Like, what's up? Like, I had to go through you should have told me. So, what's next for you at Waco ISD then?
Man, I graduate next summer from Tarleton State.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I graduate, man, and I don't know if I'm gonna be a teacher yet. I don't know where God has me, where His plan for me. It may be with Waco ISD, it may not, but wherever it is, I'm excited. You know, I'm focused and I'm motivated.
Well, I'm really proud of you, Adrian. And I have to say that it was really nice meeting you. And I hope that, you know, my following Catholicism doesn't deteriorate you from maybe us all hanging out afterward. Like,
not at all.
Of this, yeah.
Not at all.
So that's what's next for you. I do want to is there anything else that you'd like to tell us? Like, as far as your story and everything, did you get everything out that you wanted to, or is there more you want to talk about?
Nah, man, I think that's it, man. But as far as, you know, bringing my brother on and things like that, I'm really excited about that in the future. You know what I mean? And so
hopefully Angelo will come on. Like I said, I knew of Angelo when we were like 15. Yeah. We worked at Katie's Custard for 5 minutes. He did.
Wow.
I think for 5 minutes. If that's the right Angelo.
No, it is. He talks about that story.
He was a big old pothead. Yeah. Like, tried to get me, and I was like, I don't know. Yeah. I thought he was cute back in the day, too. Oh, no homo, Angelo. Yeah. But yeah, I would love to have Angelo on the show, but I'm really happy that we got to have Adrian on this show.
Oh, yeah, most
I'm happy
definitely.
that we got to hear Adrian's side of the story. And, again, for all the listeners, I was inspired to tell my story with alcoholism because of you on this show. Yeah. It was something I never talked about. Watching somebody go through that was hard. But I feel like now I'm in a better place. I'm surrounded with a better group of people. My best friend from 15 years ago is still my best friend today. I have this new group of friends that make me play sports and shit. Oh. You know what I mean? But they're great. I love them. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to go play volleyball. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's great. Yeah. And I'm happy to hear that you're doing well, too. And I really hope that we can, again, hang out again outside of this podcast. And again, tell your brother, come on the show sometime when this whole thing's out, you know, over this COVID.
Yeah.
And, you know, do you want any of our listeners to follow you on social media or anything?
Yeah, so you can just follow me at Adrian Fajardo on Facebook. Okay. And probably that's my only social media that I have. Yeah, that's the only one I got.
Well, before we wrap up, I just want to give a shout out to a couple more of our sponsors on the show for the show. Elite Barbershop in Hewitt, Texas. They are the barbershop that I attend. Sid Rodriguez cuts my hair. You guys can also go over there and visit Marcus Guerrero. Badass barbers. Love them so much. They're located on Hewitt Drive. You can call them to book on the number on the screen, or you can download the Cut app and book your appointment on there. I also want to give a big shout out to our one of our sponsors, Cedar Sphere Digital Marketing. My boy Zihad Halabi is the owner of that company, and you guys should hit them up for all your digital marketing company needs. Very great guy. And Zihad, thank you again for supporting the public affair. Adrian, thank you again for coming on to the show. Thank you
for having me.
Thank you all again for all your support, and don't forget, Waco, always keep it between us.
Yeah.
Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.